AI look is officially dead. That is my first thought upon using the new Midjourney V7. This is the most recent model out from Midjourney, and one of the things it's incredibly good at is creating AI images that don't look like AI images. And that's a big deal because previously, if you know what you're looking for, it's fairly easy to spot an AI photograph. I call them photographs in quotes because they're really not photographs, they're more like illustrations, and they often had this sort of saturated, larger-than-life, overly cheerful, people were overly good looking, everything just looked hunky-dory in every single photo that was created by these platforms. And it was very easy to spot this and very easy to tell when something was AI, and it just didn't look real. It looked photorealistic, but it didn't look like real life. Now, Midjourney presumably has been trained on a broader set of images. It's better able to understand the visual content of images, and so as a result, it can produce AI images that do not look like AI images. And these are a few examples of things that I have made with V7 since it came out last week. So you can see boring photos of families at the dining table. These really look like something that somebody would take in reality, and yet all of these people and context and everything here is completely created via AI. But you would not look at this and immediately think AI photo. If you looked at a previous version of a Midjourney, it would look very different. And for comparison's sake, here's that same exact prompt with Midjourney's V5 model, the one that would have come out about a year and a half ago. And you can see it looks completely different. He looks like a model over here. The hands are messed up. The kids all look like they're out of some kind of YouTube influencer channel there. Everything just has this like soft and beautiful airbrushed look to it. It doesn't look like a real family. And this is V7. Again, same prompt, and it looks much, much more real and realistic. We got a little blurring, like the kid's moving his face. This is poorly composed. This guy looks like a real person in this photo. So that's the biggest change that I've seen. Let's look at a couple more examples. Here's a photo that's supposed to be a local Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting. Now, there's some issues with this. This face isn't good. We'd have to probably run this a couple times to get a totally usable one, but just you can get a sense for the overall vibe here. It gets that there's like boring overhead fluorescent lighting. People are dressed in sort of drab business casual stuff. And again, the faces are the one problem here. But if we ran this a few times, we could probably get something very usable. This is, I think, super, super great. I mean, this looks totally realistic. This is a boring photo taken in 2017 of a child playing with a dog is the prompt here, and that's, in fact, exactly what we've got. I don't think most people, even AI experts, would necessarily be able to distinguish this from a real photo versus before, again, there was such a stark and dramatic difference. And here, in contrast, again, this is actually with version 6, an even more up-to-date version. It looks like something out of a Norman Rockwell painting come to life. We've got beautiful light in the hair of the child and the dog is kind of perfectly groomed and has this beautiful look in its eyes, and that is totally different from what most photos of your kid playing with your dog look like. They look a lot like this, for example. Keeping with the dog theme, here's one of a Bichon Frise walking in the woods. Again, quite realistic on this. Nothing stands out about it as being AI. It doesn't have those glowing edges around the side. The lighting isn't beautiful. It's kind of drab and normal. That's kind of the bottom line here, normal. I'll show a couple more, and then I'll get into some techniques that you can use to get Midjourney V7 to create these normal-looking photos without that AI look most effectively. Here's a family playing soccer in the park. Again, the lighting here is nice. It's kind of a golden hour lighting, but it's poorly composed. It's all shot from behind. There's like this tree in the foreground, and it just looks like a normal scene. So a couple ways to achieve this. For one thing, V7 is better at doing this straight out of the box. So if you drop in any prompt, it's going to have an image that has less of that AI look, no matter what it is that you're making with it. But there's a couple ways to even tweak that a bit further. So one that people have discovered online that I think is super clever is to put before your prompt the file name of an old camera format. So this is again really interesting. So if you put in a fake file name like img_5678.heic, which is the file format and naming convention for older model iPhones, it will create an image that looks like it was taken on an older model iPhone. So for some reason, it has learned the kinds of file names that result in specific types of images. And by putting those in, I've seen people put in ones that are a .cr2, which was a Canon digital camera format, and that apparently results in more realistic looking images, ones that look more like normal life. Another one that I showed earlier is to ask for a boring photo taken in a different era, ideally an era before there was a lot of these kind of filters, Instagram images, and AI images. So if you ask it to mimic the visual style of a photo taken in 2017, for example, and specifically ask for something boring, that tends to yield images that, again, look more like real life. It's kind of sad that AI feels that our normal day-to-day life is boring, and that's this aesthetic it assigns to it. But again, if you want something that looks real, this is the direction to go. So I'm officially declaring the AI look dead. If you want to make images that look realistic using generators like Midjourney, that is now totally possible. There's no reason everything needs to look like an overly saturated anime illustration. These photos can look real, they can look normal, and they can reflect the realities of daily life simply and easily with V7. If you found this helpful in any way, please do like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps.